clear communication comes from knowing. So usually you don't have a communication problem, you have a clarity problem. Either you're not clear in what you're trying to communicate yourself, or you're not very good at communicating it, so the person or the people you're communicating to don't have any clarity in what you're saying. So I think there's three main areas when it comes to communication. So the first one I've wrote down here is knowing what you are looking to communicate. So knowing what you're looking to communicate. It's such a simple statement, but it'll make all the difference in anything you're communicating. And the example that I was thinking of was when I came home from London, I was asked by the Omagh I Centre to just take a session. I think it was only like 3 weeks or something, or maybe 6. And I assumed it was for respite for carers and workers. So I just arrived like I would arrive to any class, ready to teach. Tai Chi is what they wanted, Qigong and Tai Chi. And when I got there, I quickly realized it was for the actual people that use the centre. So they were either fully or partially blind. I would have been fucked in that situation because I've never taught anyone like that at that stage. But because I knew my art, I knew inside and out, I was able to just reevaluate my plan and then think, right, well, all this works. The only difference is I have to be more vocal. So I started teaching the Tai Chi, each movement at a time. Step forward, I would say step forward on your right, lift your right hand in front of your left hand, rotate them, like every single movement. It actually made me much better at my Tai Chi because I had to, as much as I knew it inside and out, when you start to break down every single actual twist and movement, you start to get it a lot more. So because I knew exactly what I was talking about, what I was trying to communicate, it made it much easier. And that went from a 6-week course, ended up for the next 12 years teaching Tai Chi every week until the world shut down, and then didn't get to teach it anymore. I suppose I could go back to it, but I've no time yet, so just fucking settle down. I have this argument with myself all the time. So the communication was there because I knew it. If it had been something else, like if I was just doing like a talk on nutrition, for example, because it's not something I was really well up on. I knew enough about nutrition to just be healthy, but I wouldn't have known how to teach it. That situation would have fucked me over, so I wouldn't have been able to actually communicate what needed to be communicated. So even if you're watching this, and rather than, well, even if you're listening, you'll notice the tonality change, and I get excited, or I drop down, or I lift up. If you're watching it, you'll notice I speak with my hands, and they're connected to the words that I'm saying. So that's also another part of communicating. You communicate not just with your voice and what the words you're saying, but actually your body as well. That's just a wee side one. I kind of overlooked it because it comes so naturally to me. So this another point in the I know so much about communication is what I used to teach before the world shut down as well. I used to teach people how to speak on camera, speak on stage. I worked with people in TV and corporate, comedians, magicians, all walks of life basically. So sometimes whenever it's not the main subject, you'll overlook some of it. But when you know a lot about what it is that you're trying to communicate, like I'm doing right now, you can rein it back in and go, oh, maybe I should add that bit in because it's important. The second one is speaking clearly and using the full range of your voice and allowing for silence. So I sort of mentioned that in what I just explained there now, but when I first went to do stage work in corporate teaching and training, I spoke without really opening my mouth. My mouth didn't really move when I talked, and I talked like this here. And that is not the way to communicate effectively and like engage with people. People are not engaging with that monotone, mumbly nonsense. So I actually went to Marika Rausha over in London, who I've talked about a few times. She is super awesome. If you want to improve your vocals, go to Marika. And spent a whole day developing my voice, and then I spent the next few months, and then a few months often, and then over the years, Marika would just give me wee tips when she saw new videos or new talks that I'd done. So speaking clearly, allowing silence. That silence gives people the opportunity to think about what you just said and either come up with what they want to say next or just sit with whatever it is that you said. We have a tendency to fill silence over here and just mumble and talk and just keep going. Like I used to even do it in my videos. I'd actually cut out the silence, even if I was doing a podcast, and that wee break there, I'd be like, oh, that has to go. Everything has to go. In the world of reels and social media at the minute, it's not great to have silence unless it's like you've asked a question and you give the silence and then you go, but the silence can be like a second, no longer. That breath I just took there, you would cut that out of any reel because people are just gonna scroll straight away. But when I'm thinking about communicating, I'm communicating with people that want to communicate with me. That's why I do a long form podcast. I don't really care if you're someone that scrolls on, then you're not my people and you're not really serious about developing yourself as a human, as a man, as a communicator. So speaking clearly and using the full range of your voice, allowing for silence as well. Allowing for silence helps you when you're trying to, like I just did there now. It's very hard to demonstrate silence without it being very obvious you're demonstrating the silence. But if you listen back to the other podcasts, you'll see I use silence all the time in them. But if I'm always filling the gap all the time, and then I'm struggling to think of something, a metaphor, or to clearly say what I want to say, and then I go silent, it looks like I forgot. But if I've been using silence in the talk, in the podcast, in the video, with the person, giving them an opportunity to think about what I said and decide for themselves if they agree with it, if they don't agree, how they're going to react, are they going to be reactive? Then if I do need the silence for myself, then I can just take it. The third one is listening to the response, having an open mind and allowing the people or person you're communicating with to have their opinion and be willing to have yours changed. So I know 3 has a lot of things. So listening to the response. So I use the example of pad work. When you're doing pads, you're the pad holder, someone's thumping the pads. You're not just holding the pads and thinking, fucking 2 minutes, then it's my turn to hit them. You're watching the person, how do they move, what's their shoulder doing? So I'd be thinking like, if I spar this person next, what are their tails? What are my tails? Am I flinching? Am I moving back? What way am I hitting with the pads? Where's my setup? Where's my position? So I'm super active when I'm on the pads, and it's the same when I'm listening. Even if, obviously I'm not going to be fucking moving like I'm on the pads. I feel like me, myself, and Irene there outside the shop when he's going to fight the boys. When I'm in a conversation, I'm listening to what you have to say. I'm taking it all in as best I can, and I'm allowing myself to be open-minded. So you have to be willing, if you're stuck in your opinion, this is the only way. So when I first started martial arts, just over 20 years ago, every martial art was the best and every other martial art was the worst. That's how it worked. If you did Shaolin Kung Fu like I did, you were the fucking best and everything else was shit. If you did Wing Chun, you were the best, everything else was shit. If you did karate, you were the best, everything else was shit. When you do that, you box yourself in. So I'd be training with Wing Chun guys when I came back home from London for holidays. I was going to say vacations. For a vacation. When I came home for a birthday party or a wee weekend home, which wasn't often to be fair. But I would train with them and I'd be thinking, that move at the end of my form is the same as that move at the end of your form, just slightly different. Everything's the fucking same. And Tom used to always say there's only so much good stuff to go around. So I started to keep that in the back of my mind when I trained with anyone, when I did any sort of cross training, not CrossFit, cross training. When I did any cross training, I would think, well, what can I take away that's going to benefit me moving forward? So I'm listening to the response. I'm having my mind open, so I will not react. I'll not be reactive. I will react whenever I want to. And I allow you to have your opinion. Your opinion is solid and it's fine, and I don't have to change it. I can tell you my thoughts, my ideas, and my opinion, but I don't have to change yours. And then be willing for mine to be changed, which has happened loads. Different, like say the martial art world, I'll have, this is the application for this move, and that's what it's for. And then I meet another master and he says, well, actually we use this application and that leads also to this. And then I work with wrestlers and they use the exact same position as a grappling, as a clinch work position. So numerous times the exact same thing is used for completely different things. But it's happened in all areas of my life, but that's just a quick example. So here's the 3 talking points. So the knowing what you're looking to communicate. So know what it is you're going into the conversation with and what your goal is. Have a goal for the conversation. Speak clearly and use your full range of your voice. Be more animated. Be willing to use silence. And then listen to their response. Have an open mind. Allow the people or person you're communicating with to have their opinion and they can keep it. Or allow your mind to be changed, so when their opinion comes in and it makes more sense, you go, fuck, that's going to elevate my life, I'm going to take that on. So most communication issues are self-awareness issues, especially in arguments. So if we use arguments as an example, like I've worked with couples in hypnotherapy and just a few different other things, and even in martial arts, like people aren't self-aware enough of what they're doing, how they're saying what they're saying, that it causes arguments. The more self-aware you are, the more clearly you speak, the more you understand what you're saying and why you're saying it, the more likely you're going to have the outcome that you want. You're going to have a better communicative conversation. You can't express what you haven't first clarified inside. So again, when I come on this podcast, I know what I'm trying to communicate. If I'm coming on here and I'm looking at my notes, I'm going, you don't have a communication problem, you have a clarity problem. What the fuck does that mean? And then I'm trying to think of it on the fly. That's not going to work. When I plan the podcast, I come up with, yes, there's wee hooks and wee sound bites, but it's the nature of communication on social media now. Sound bites work really well. So I know I've clarified inside myself what it is that I'm trying to get across. And because I've done that, it makes it much easier for me to actually deliver it here, and hopefully for you to absorb it. Take what is useful and get rid of what isn't. Bruce Lee. And then the final thing I wrote there is real communication is speaking and listening, not reacting. So this is what I want you to do this week. This is your challenge, the mirror call. Before your next hard conversation, before your next, whether that's in work, whether it's relationship, whether it's with yourself, and you're going to sit down with yourself and have a conversation about why the fuck you're not going to the gym anymore, or why you've stopped eating healthy, or why you're just not looking after yourself, why you're not building the business that you claim you're going to build. Like, sit out. It's yourself, it's a spouse, it's a partner, it's a friend, it's just whatever the hard conversation is going to be. Write it down and then get clear on what you really think and feel, and then speak it out loud to get some practice in. So speak it out loud and then go and have the conversation, or if it's with yourself, stand in front of the mirror and have the conversation. But having that written down, having it written down is a great way. Like, say I've used this for people who are in relationships and people that are having issues with their parents. Write it down and say to the person, I'm going to read this because I don't feel comfortable trying to remember it all and say it. And I know if I just start blurting it out, it'll come across like I'm more emotional or more angry or something. I want it to be clear that I've thought about this, and I'm going to read it instead. And then just read it out to the person. But still practice, like read it a few times so you practice, so you don't read it and go, what the fuck did I mean there? You know exactly what you're trying to communicate. So try it out, let me know how you get on with it. And remember that communication isn't about being loud, and it's not about being right. It's a two-way interaction where you're willing to lead and be led. So have a super awesome day, whatever you get up to, and I'll speak to you again soon.